Hello, saints. I've been reading in 1 Corinthians, and going back here into chapter 1, I see what Paul is saying and how foundational it is for us to understand Jesus Christ and what he's done for us. We're all about wanting to know what the church teaches, the doctrines, and what we're to believe, but we can't go there unless or until we know Jesus Christ. This is the foundation of everything, that everything comes out of. Paul writes there in 1 Corinthians chapter 1, he says in verse 17, "For Christ, he did not send me to baptize, but to preach the gospel, not in cleverness of speech, so that the cross of Christ would not be made void. For the word of the cross," he says, "is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved, it is the power of God." The cross was so central to Paul that he tells them later on in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, those first verses. He says, "Now I make known to you, brethren, the gospel which I preached to you, which also you received, in which also you stand, by which also you are saved, if you hold fast the word which I preached to you, unless you believed in vain. For I delivered to you as of the first importance what I also received, that Christ died for our sins according to the Scriptures, that he was buried, and that he was raised on the third day according to the Scriptures." It's in the context of Jesus' life, death, and resurrection that the good news goes forward, that Christ had given his blood for our salvation. We've talked about that in past devotionals, where, for instance, in Revelation chapter 5, where the 24 elders and the 4 beasts around the throne praised the Lamb, Jesus Christ, for his shed blood and his salvation to mankind. We saw how this praise went not just from the center of the courts of heaven, but throughout heaven and then throughout the whole cosmos, out throughout God's universe. This is so central to what Christians are and what we are to teach and to believe. Christ is the foundation, and it is the message of the cross that we are to deliver to the world. That's couched in the 3 angels' messages. That's all part and parcel. And when giving the message of the cross, we prepare for the kingdom. Be kingdom builders and sharing the message of Christ and what he has done to restore us. Blessings.